Hey everyone, it's John and Tom in Cannes, France. The time is what, 3:30 in the morning, Tom? And that's correct, isn't it? I don't have my glasses on or my contacts in. It's been one of those weeks, but it's been a lot of fun. It's been very productive, and this is kind of the pinnacle of what we've been building up to this week. We have some more stories coming on, but today Tom and I had to get up very early. We're going to this ceremony, the 80th anniversary of D-Day ceremony. President Biden is expected to talk, the French president as well, and a few others. To get in there, we have our media credentials already, but to get in there, we have to get in there very early to try and get a parking spot because there are limited parking spots. And I'd like to get a spot in the media center at the media table. Tom's got to get in position to shoot this whole thing. So we're up 8 hours before it starts and trying to get there about 7 hours before it starts. So we'll bring you some videos from there as well and some other coverage. We'll have a story on this later on, kind of weaving in also another 100-year-old veteran from Minnesota who we haven't focused on too much yet. His name is Jim Rasmussen, and he's back at Normandy as well. We interviewed him already, and also a younger soldier from Minnesota who's here. So look for those stories on WCCO News, also streaming on CBS News Minnesota. We got another checkpoint.
Oh yeah, let me get this thing out.
Okay. And this is for security purposes, getting into the event.
Merci beaucoup.
So they're doing a good job. Every so often it's a checkpoint. You can kind of see right there. And Tom and I have gone through, what, 3 so far, Tommy? Trying to get to a ceremony that's going to have President Macron and President Biden in it. So going down this road, and we're, what, maybe a mile away from where we're going to be for the ceremony.
A mile away, and the road's all closed down in about 2 hours.
Hey everyone, bonjour. It is just after 4:30 in the morning here in France. Tom Avilis, who's sitting in that car right there, he and I got up extra early to be here. President Biden's coming. President Macron from France will be here for the 80th anniversary of D-Day ceremony that's going to happen at 12:30 France time, Normandy time, but it's 4:30 right now. So if you do the math, that means we had to get here, yes, 8 hours early to go through security checkpoints, to get our gear inside. This is kind of the media building behind me. I've got my laptop set up in there and everything for work today. Tom is sitting in the car. He has to be out kind of on the risers for this in about an hour and a half. So he's just chilling right now. We're just kind of hanging out until this all begins, but got about 8 hours to kill. I should have brought a book, but Tom and I are just hanging out, talking about life in general. It's been a great trip. It's been a whirlwind. It's been super busy, but worth it in every possible way. These stories of these veterans never cease to amaze me, just the grit, guile, and fortitude that they've gone through. And then to come back at 100 years old. Jim Rasmussen's another Minnesota veteran, World War II veteran. He's 100 years old. He's from East Bethel. He's going to be in our story today. We found a younger soldier. We caught up with her. She's from Minnetonka. We're going to talk with her. She'll be in our story today as well. And then, of course, we'll have remarks from President Biden and other world leaders here at 12:30 France time in our story today as well. So look for that on WCCO News, also streaming on CBS News Minnesota. Hey everyone, John Lordson here, Tom Avilis. We're getting set up, or Tom's getting set up anyway, with his camera and gear and everything. Just about, what, 3+ hours away from the ceremony here, the 80th anniversary of D-Day ceremony. President Joe Biden is going to be here. Emmanuel Macron, the French president, is going to be here. We got here in the middle of the night just to make sure we got a spot. And you can kind of see how far back those seats go, way back there behind me. Here's the stage up here where we'll hear the speakers. Hearing Tom Hanks is here. So that's a pretty big deal for a lot of people as well. And obviously a lot of military members here is paying tribute and kind of remembering what happened 80 years ago, or looking back at what happened 80 years ago. Off over my shoulder here, that's the French cemetery here at Normandy, and then right next to it is the American cemetery. So thousands of people expected, obviously, today, 80th anniversary of D-Day. a really big deal for people from all over the world, and that's what we're expecting here is a lot of dignitaries from around the world. Again, President Joe Biden will be speaking, Emmanuel Macron will be speaking, and some celebrities in the house as well, like Tom Hanks. So look for an update on that story on WCCO News, also streaming on CBS News Minnesota. Hey everyone, John Lortzen here again. Just want to show you the Normandy Cemetery, the American side. We were here a couple days ago, but it was kind of roped off, so we could really only see the French cemetery and not very much of the American cemetery, but this is it behind me. It's pretty interesting to see, pretty somber. Just a beautiful day here, but you're looking at all these grave markers, American soldiers right here who fell while serving their country and never made it home, obviously. So the ceremony is set to begin here in a couple hours on the 80th anniversary of D-Day, but in the meantime, getting a chance to get kind of up close to some of these grave markers here at the Normandy Cemetery, the American side of it. So kind of wanted to show that. And obviously we got some features coming up on Minnesota World War II veterans, 100 years old, probably coming here for the last time. So that's a pretty interesting thing to sit down and talk with them and just hear about everything they've gone through and what it meant to them to serve their country and to come back here to Normandy for the 80th anniversary of D-Day.
Who are you looking for, sir? Oh, you said I was in there. Sorry.
With salutes and smiles,
Thank you.
World War II veterans were recognized by French President Emmanuel Macron and President Joe Biden. Their courageous efforts highlighted in front of military members and Hollywood celebrities like Tom Hanks and Steven Spielberg.
On behalf of the American people, and as Commander-in-Chief, it's the highest honor to be able to salute you here in Normandy once more.
June 6, 1944.
Exactly 80 years ago, many of the men on stage fought through the clamor and chaos of D-Day, while their brothers in arms fell at their sides. The price of freedom clearly visible, just feet away.
There are things that are worth fighting and dying for. America's worth it. The world is worth it.
The ceremony caps off several days of reflection here at Normandy, and Minnesotans have been a big part of it all. That includes 100-year-old Jim Rasmussen of East Bethel.
Surprisingly, I got a little emotional when they were playing the taps there, and whatnot. So apparently it affected me in some ways, to be back here at this time.
Jim fought in France during World War II. Like so many others, this could be his last trip to Normandy, so he's making the most of it.
I always try and tell the kids and whatnot, they got to remember what other people did for you, that you got to this point.
It's a message that Nora McFall takes to heart.
It's just amazing to hear their stories and hear how their sacrifices allowed us to be free and where we are today.
There's an 80-year age difference between Jim and Nora, but they're brought together by a common bond of service and their home state. Nora is on active duty and she's from Minnetonka. This has been a week she'll never forget.
It's been a blessing to be able to be here. It's hard to understand the sacrifices they made on these beaches.
In Normandy, France, with photojournalist Tom Avilas, John Lortzen, WCCO News.